An amazing experiment that required 100,000 years suggests the major changes of humanity's development were set from the very beginning. The experiment to which I am referring took place when Homo sapiens began to flow north out of Africa. Some veered to the west and populated Europe. Others turned right and crossed over into the Americas. The key point to wonder over is that the humans settling in Europe had utterly no contact with the humans trekking toward the Americas. And yet when they met 100,000 years later in the 16th century, they found that they had evolved through profoundly similar stages. I'm Brian Thomas Swim with the Human Energy Project. Our series of short videos explores the way humanity is building a planetary mind called the noosphere. As we deepen our understanding of the noosphere, we discover a collective purpose, which will help us address our planetary challenges together. In today's video, we examine the way population dynamics of humanity lead inevitably to a planetary mind. Archaeologists have recently concluded that in the 13th century, the population of Cahokia, a Native American city near present-day St. Louis, Missouri, equaled that of contemporaneous London and far exceeded that of contemporaneous Paris. This comes as a shock to those of us educated in the West whose focus has been on the humans who settled down in Europe and the Middle East. We've ignored the others. We were certain we could brush aside the earliest Americans because, so we believed, they didn't advance into civilization as the European humans had. For example, we were certain the early Americans did not leave any written records. But even this assumption was proven false when scholars in the latter part of the 20th century came to realize that the Mayans had invented a written language entirely on their own. That is, entirely independent of the inventions of writing that took place in Mesopotamia, China, or North Africa. This 100,000-year experiment of how human groups developed independent of each other enables us to speak with authority about a natural development of humanity. Complexity scientists point to development that is inevitable when the geometry of a dynamical system has an attractive basin. That is, even though many dynamical systems include chance events, there can also be a structural geometry in phase space which draws the system forward to its final form. For instance, complexity science sees the form of the fruiting oak tree as drawing the acorn into the taproot, and then into the sapling, and then into the mature adult form. Some complexity scientists now regard the noosphere as the form that is drawing human populations through their sequential development. Humans began inside conscious self-awareness, then are drawn to construct spoken languages, then learn to cultivate seeds, then find the skill to conjure up written language. Throughout this development, it is the noosphere as the attracting basin that draws the dynamical system forward, even into the major disruptions we see all around us today. The phrase major disruptions is not meant in a moral sense, but refers to disruptions that take place in any nonlinear system as it moves through its phase changes. The emergence of modern humans, equipped with powerful technologies, has brought Earth into our present zone of chaos. In dynamical terms, we are living in a time when the slightest event can have immense long-term consequences. An analogy for our situation that comes from chemistry is the supersaturated solution. Just before crystallization, the chemist has only to toss in a tiny seed anywhere in the solution, and the crystal springs into existence. For those of us who wish to participate consciously in this historic transition, the first requirement is to see through the noise. The divisions, fighting, polarizations of our time are the symptoms of our having entered a critical phase transition. The chaos is inevitable. Core assumptions of modern Western civilization are disintegrating. We no longer regard the universe as a mechanical process governed by outside laws, nor are we inspired by the idea that the universe is meaningless and human existence an absurdity. The truth is, we belong here and have a role to fulfill. The truth is, the well-being of every sentient species of life now depends upon us. We are not separate from one another. We, in fact, are composed of each other. And in this profound communion, we are destined to make a leap in being that brings forth a new era of flourishing Earth communities.